Right then, let's do this. Today we are going to talk about Ruud Van Nistelrooy. Now, he is Man United's interim manager at the moment since the sacking of Ten Hag, and until Ruben Amorim, he joins, and that will be the 11th of November. But until then, let's look at the tactics. This was requested in our last video, so let's have a look at it. As we know, he's been at PSV before, and he kind of used a series of formations, but this is about getting the basis of what he tried to drill in. So I'll go through the tactic. What I'll do is I'll show you how it worked out, with the results of it. I ran it with Man United and also ran it with Sporting, because why not? I kind of thought maybe they could even hire him himself. He has obviously experience at PSV. He's an up-and-coming manager. I don't know, maybe, but I thought I'd run it with them as well, so you can see how it works out. Now, Man United, as we can see, won the title, won Europa League on penalties, won the FA Cup, and won the Carabao Cup. We won everything, but it wasn't necessarily with pure ease. Now, in the Premier League, they did just lose one game. Fair enough. Only losing one game is great. 100 goal difference. This has a lot of goals in it, but this isn't a set up team yet. This is kind of a team that was predicted 5th or 6th. Very much on the grow. You have to kind of go with it there. But there was obviously ups and downs throughout the whole season. As you can tell, it's a pretty solid tactic. The fact that, as we can see here, 10 draws. Holding on for dear life in a lot of these games. But I'll show you here as you run through. A lot of green windows, a lot of good runs of form, goals galore. Did hit a weird patch in the middle here. Obviously a whole load of draws, and obviously finished off in a certain type of way as well. But as we look at the data as well, the data will tell us here 3.3 goals per game. Obviously a lot of dribbles, that is the main thing of this formation, and also 21.6 shots, of there as well. And defensively it's 0.71. They have a lot of things. There's a lot of great things about this tactic and how it's ran. It does need the correct type of players to really push it through. And Man United tend to have quite a lot of that style as well. But realistically, it still needs a lot of work. And it's great for young players as well. The way it feeds in, it's great to bring a lot of young players through. You can kind of train them and mold them yourself. It's honestly absolutely perfect there. As you see in the league, we'll have a look over here. Most goals there as well, most shots. But if you've seen another one as well, absolutely dominated on the shots, but fewest shots against. It's very close to City. As I told you, there's a lot more you need to build on here, but most clean sheets by a little bit distance here as well, and fewest goals conceded. I will promise you this tactic will be so secure to build a team around for a 5, 6, 7 year project at a team. And you can use this at pretty much any team, I would say, that's mid-table to increase them. And any team that's sniffing around Europe or so, maybe in Europe, it will definitely get you towards a title. It will get you that next step. But I'll show you that with Sporting. As we can see, even won the Champions League with Sporting. Cleaned up, won absolutely everything in the league. Obviously, on the previous one with Amorim, we did that one and they went unbeaten. This one they didn't. They did get a loss. Santa Clara just needs better management in terms of man-to-man moments of a game. But absolutely dominating that league, let's be honest. Only conceding 8 goals. How do I do it? No one knows. We'll have a little look here. As you can see, 4.3 goals per game. And this is with a team that is predicted to be 3rd, right up there as well. You know, they're predicted 3rd, but they could easily be well within the title picture. But we're seeing that here. And in terms of goals conceded, 0.24. I don't know what else. I don't know what else I can do. I'm going to be honest with you. I really surprised myself. Sometimes I run these tactics and I just think, this is never going to work. But yet here we are. But what I'll do now, I won't bore you with this factor. Let me show you how the tactic actually works. Now, we're going to go over here and we're going to look at the tactic in Man United system here as well. So, the reason I want it in the Man United system is because I can show you how he really is working it. Oh, there was a couple of changes we made for a game, and that is it right there. So, this is how it's set up. So, Ugarte or Casemiro here doesn't really matter. We have Xerxes up front because Højlund did get a big injury during the season, but he still managed 26 goals. What more do you want? The goals is actually quite important. So it's actually quite important if we do actually have a quick look at the stats here as well. So the stats will tell you. Let's look at it by goals and assists. So what I'm about to explain to you is how this system sets up. And I think actually that would be better to show you here. So Dalot is on fullback support. He still gets forward, but what he does is he naturally will just drift into these areas here. He won't go too far away, allowing protection to a back three that's created by Agate, because Luke Shaw on the other side will be on complete wing back attack. He is going to fly into the space, because as we can see, Garnacho ahead of Dalot is on winger, so he's already going to be out there attacking that wide play. And then obviously Rashford, he needs to be here, because he is going to drift inside into this area here, creating a whole load of space for Luke Shaw to overlap. Nice and easy. Now Agate is obviously half back this side, because he is going to drift into these areas, and as Martinez covers, he is just going to drift back there and kind of leave protection there. So you've always kind of got your three. Now with him joining it as well, you're creating, still with him being able to pick up pockets like Veerman used to do for PSV, creating a lot of pockets here. Obviously you've got your playmaker who's just going to drift and roam in this midfield, and obviously he's going to attach obviously to Rashford. As Rashford will come in here, it will go like that. He will come up here, and then you've kind of got this weird slightly inverted three. He may drift slightly forward. It's a strange process, admittedly. Don't worry about it. I know what I'm doing, I think. But honestly, this tactic works an absolute treat, and in game it looks absolutely great. You create overloads, and that's what Van Nistelrooy is all about. He creates so many overloads. He absolutely packs the pitch out with just pockets and areas of just where you struggle to break down, and you can't kind of get overwhelmed, and that's it in every area out wide in particular, just like Man United did years ago when he was there, and where he clearly adopted a slight part of this thing from Fergie. You need to overload areas, bully people, create so many people in an area. There's triangle passes, short passing, and constant abuse of it. So we will look back at it, but don't worry, I'll show you obviously the instructions. It is set to attack him. Over here I want it wide as possible. We need to stretch play to start with. You're going to overlap to the left. You can put pass into space if you've got really fast wingers, but I wanted to kind of blanket cover it for a lot of people who are going to use this in maybe lesser leagues or teams that aren't really blessed with pace out wide. Play out of defence, because we do need to build it properly. You don't necessarily need shorter passing all the time. Certain players are going to have that kind of instruction, but just kind of standard passing, and it's about tempo. So we need high tempo play. Low crosses and run at defence. Now, as we look over here, we're just going to take short kicks. We're going to spread the play across anywhere on that back line, like a lot of teams do, to be honest. With a lot of them, you will set up there, and you're going to be able to play them ones as well. And it's take short kicks. Counter press, counter. And over here, we need a higher defensive line. It's not as high as it goes, just one tick below. But we want, obviously, the press to start as high up as possible, and just more often. It's not necessarily crazy press where you just get triggered to it instantly, get stuck in and prevent goalkeeper short distribution. You want to be able to force teams to go long, because you're trusting you've got overloads in areas. Your team's set up to have somebody covering in all areas to get the knockdowns to play football there as well. That's it done, and I'll show you obviously the player instructions now. So goalkeeper, just have him as he is. Fullback, I want him to run wide with the ball and stay wider. That when we got the ball, he needs to be an outlet. I think of like a Gary Neville arriving in to there as well. Gary Neville's an awful example to use, but no, listen, that was disrespectful to Gary Neville. I love Gary Neville, but you know what I mean. Obviously back line, don't worry about what they're doing, but obviously here, run wide with the ball, because he's going to do everything else here, because he's a lot more gun-ho. He's just going to absolutely fly. Over here, we need to take fewer risks, shoot less often, and more direct passes. We want him just to punch the passes in. Don't worry about having to go too short and play necessarily always too safe. I want him to fire the ball in wide, to when Luke Shaw makes that overlap, I want him to fire that ball out there. I want him to fire it into the cam. I want him to fire it into Mainu. I don't want him to be necessarily too restricted. So make sure he does have the defensive responsibilities, but he also has the ability to protect and play. That's the king. Protect, play, keep it moving. Everyone in this team needs to be able to play. Mainu, cross less often, because he shouldn't really be out there all the time, and dribble more. I want him to be able to keep the tempo. If he's crossing it and firing there as well, he's out of position all the time. I want him to kind of keep the ball, pass, move, and all that stuff as well. Out wide on the right, pass it shorter, run wide with ball, shoot more often. The rest all come as natural. And on the left hand side, shoot more often and sit narrower. I want him to be in this area here. He's almost going to attach to the striker there as well, and if chasing a game, obviously move him to attack. But if you move him to attack, make sure you move Bruno to support. It's really weird, but just trust me. That's just how you do it, and it'll work the exactly same. Just gives you a different dynamic to attack from. You can also move him up as well if needed as well, just to add another body to that midfield just to protect it out. But you should be absolutely fine here to there as well, or you can add him to an inverted wing back. Van Nistelrooy does use inverted wing backs at times, but not necessarily religiously like he did as well. So looking here, that is just pretty much the simplest way to set it up. Striker, I don't know if I missed that one out. Pass it shorter, shoot more often with Bruno, take more risks. Dribble more, shoot more often, run from position and move into channels. He is absolutely key. This role here needs to be absolutely packed out because, as mentioned, Rashford adds goal threat. He's going to add in here. Bruno is a playmaker. Garnacho is effectively a playmaker, being a winger, and more traditionally, Rashford and Xerxes are your goal threats, and everyone else is ticking. Luke Shaw is going to be more of a winger, so he'll provide a lot more assists. Now, does that translate to how their stats work? Absolutely. So as we can see here, Dalot adds 13 assists, but Luke Shaw adds 25. He's more aggressive, he's higher at the pitch, he is adding a bit more. Mainu adds 12 assists, he is playmaking, dictating, with 7 goals still as well. Agate still has something there. As I said, look at his like average rating. He's never going to steal the show, but he's still there as well. And then in terms of here, you got Garnacho, the first one I said to you, is going to be like a playmaker, more traditional winger. He does get goals with 18, but 34 assists. Bruno, he adds both goals with 38 and assists at 28. Absolutely flying. Rashford has 40 goals, as I told you. He is going to be more attached to the striker than necessarily being somebody who's just an out-and-out winger. Xerxes has 31 with 5 assists. And Højlund did get 26 in 4 when he was in there as well. But he did have a big injury. I see he only played 24 games. So it could have potentially been a lot higher amount for one player alone. But that is it for me today. Comment down below, who do you want to see next? The link for this will be in the bio down below or description, wherever you're seeing it. It's going to be there, so enjoy it, download it. It do play off Steam, so follow it if you use it on console. Comment down below, who do you want to see next? Is there any challenges for FM I can do, or FIFA, whatever it is you like to see? Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I'll see you in the next one.